So we were brought on board with a contractor. So it's a design-build relationship. We have an architect and contractor, Waner Construction. And our two companies have worked together for 10 years probably. I don't know, we've done 100+ projects together. So we've worked hand in glove with them for a very long time and believe very much in that process. And we like to have contractors' involvement and input right from the very beginning. So we feel good that it is that design-build relationship. So in our firm, we have a history of doing golf clubhouses, recreation. If you're familiar with the Rolling Hills Country Club, that was ours. So we are, thrilled to be a part of this project as well. So when we came in early on, we identified a few primary ideas that we've tried to stand by all the way through this process. And it's been, a couple of months that we've been working on this and trying to get as far as we could in this short period of time. We do have more work to do for sure, but throughout those couple of months, the ideas that surfaced for us that we've tried to stay consistent with is that we want a consistent experience throughout this entire facility. That for us to come in and renovate, do a small addition or just renovate a piece of it would be a mistake. We don't want people to come in when it's done and say, wow, this part is fantastic, but there's a section of it that still looks like it needed some love, and we just wanted to make sure that everything got touched. So we want the entire building to feel new when you come in here in the end, that the whole place feels new, and stylistically too, that it's consistent. So we would like to build on, we've identified this ranch style, and you've got your old ranch house, and we think that's a fantastic legacy that we have here and ought to be built on. So, and you'll see some images to that effect here in a minute. And the other part of that is that there's lots of existing structure here. We looked at the possibility of demolishing part of this building and building new, and we really felt that if we can there's value to be had in the existing structure, so as much as possible, our goal is to maintain what's here and renovate it rather than tear it down and rebuild it, and we think your money's going to go farther that way. So a full facility renovation, an actual addition, we're actually proposing a relatively minimal amount of new addition. So you've got covered patios on the west side. We intend to infill those. I'll talk about that in a minute. But for the most part, we see this as a renovation project rather than a demolish and addition project. The second big idea is the member experience, that is our priority. In the front of our mind throughout this whole process is that member experience. And by that, I really mean, so on the west side of this property is you've got these fantastic views. So as much as possible, we're going to put the member facilities on that west side, and the focus of the design is going to be to make that as good as we can make it. Also just access to parking. I'll talk about that in a minute, but you've got the existing member parking, and so we don't want to mess with that and keep that as convenient as we can. The third big idea is the simplified circulation. So one of the things we notice when we come in here now is it's difficult when you come in. It's a little, for new people, it's a little bit disorienting. So our idea is that we keep that as simple as possible, that that the circulation is a design element in and of itself. So as you move through this building, you don't feel like you're going into a hallway to get from point A to point B, that the hallway itself is a nice place to be. And then connection to the views too, so that as you circulate through, and you'll see pictures of this, but when you come in, that you are connected to the views. Right now, when you come into this facility, you're a little closed off and disconnected from the outside and from the views. So here's the aerial shot of your facility now. And one of the things that we noticed right from the beginning is that when you come in and you enter, everything is set up with this view of your front door. And I guess that the first thing that we examined was, you know, is that the right place for the front door? And we looked at different options of moving it maybe a little farther to the west or adding another entry. And we felt like, hey, everything is set up with this existing entry, and it works well. And we just felt like we would build on that and make that as, you know, why change it if it's design?
There's a more.
Oh, there it is. Oh. Yeah. So again, so here's our member parking. And again, if that entry just works so well, all that parking is right there. And we would still utilize this as guest parking and potentially have another entry over here for guests. But so then one of the ideas that we're working with now is that as a part of that new entry is that there's a new porte cochere. So, whoops. So with the same style of architecture, we're proposing to extend this out and have a nice covered drop-off area at the front. So we've got new paving, new landscaping, and really improve that entrance experience. So then here's the basic plan, and we've got this broken and it's color coded. And we'll get into this in detail, but for the most part, I think that the basic points that we want to make and the primary elements, the design elements that we're trying to achieve here is the new porte cochere, as I mentioned, so that's up here. A new entry. We really think it's important that when you come in that front door that you feel like you're being greeted into a brand new facility. So new doors, that the entry, we're talking about widening it and raising the ceiling in there, making, you know, all new finishes in there, make that a much nicer experience. As I mentioned before, new circulation. So everything that you see in yellow is now the new circulation. As I mentioned before, it's very simple. It's just this T-shaped circulation, opens all the way through with views to the south, and then opens straight through with a direct connection with views through the bar and out to the west. The blue over here is the administrative area, so we intend to enlarge that. I'll get into that in more detail in a minute. The locker areas we've got here, both men's and women's, we're going to see improvements. We're going to see new finishes. We're going to see new lockers for the men. We're going to see additional lockers for the women, and new finishes throughout. The green area here is the exercise room. So that's basically the room that we're sitting in here. We're proposing a new exercise room there. And then this area where your current grill is the area that we are proposing to transform into the event dining area. So removing the fireplace, opening that all up, and we feel like we've got plenty of room for 200 plus members, plus dance, plus a stage in the event dining area, or the event area. This kind of purple color up here is a new area for kids. So that's something that we heard very clearly, that having additional space for families and especially for kids close by was important for everyone's families. I'll get into that in a minute. Downstairs, we've got a new bridal area that's associated with the women's locker room. And this is a big one, the kitchen. So everything that you see in this kind of brown color is the kitchen improvements. And we felt like that just had to be improved. I'll show you that in more detail, but definitely enlargements and improvements in the kitchen. And then this whole purple area here is as we talked about before, the member experience. So this is the whole dining and bar area. And then additional outdoor seating and event area. So we're talking about creating this kind of courtyard space here, along with considerable amount of outdoor seating and dining area on the west and the south corner of the building here. So I'm going to run through those points real quick, and kind of we have little blow-up plans of each one of those ideas so you can see them in a little more detail. So this is that entry, and we're proposing all new doors, opening it up with more glass, making it wider and taller, and all new finishes. So new floors, new light fixtures, new wall finishes. And again, here's this circulation, and so this is a fair bit of work is going into opening up this circulation and making it clear, making it understandable, and being able to move through the building. Part of that, you'll see right here is where the stair currently is to take you downstairs. So we're proposing to move that over to here, and that helps to open up and get this direct shot all the way through. And then this hallway, once you turn and move to the west, we're planning to widen it, improve the finishes in it, and then right here is where the fireplace is for the old house. So we're planning to remove that fireplace, relocate basically the fireplace, and open it up so it's a straight shot into the bar and open the views up to the west. The administrative areas, there's an existing coat closet here that we're commandeering and taking over that space and adding to the administrative area. There's a need in there for another office or two. That space is also being pushed out here into the hallway a little bit to gain a little more square footage there. The men's locker room. So right now, there is when you come in the front door, there's a hallway that goes out here towards the pool area. And we are proposing to take that square footage. That door and that hallway tends to not be used very much from what we understand, so we're going to use that square footage to add to the locker room. So additional lockers, additional full-size lockers, additional half-size lockers, as well as the shower and toilet area is going to be reworked. Everything has to be brought up to code. We have ADA and handicapped accessibility things, so all of that will be brought up to code and meet current ADA standards. In the women's locker room, actually, I know some renovation has been done to it recently, and what we plan to build on that. But in general, we want to add in this area, and the big complaint that we heard is that there's just not enough lockers in the women's locker room. So we're going to expand that area and get more lockers. And then back upstairs. So this is the exercise room that we're in now. So this will it'll have new athletic flooring. We'll have mirrors. We intend to fill that space up with exercise equipment. So it's a decent size exercise space that I think will function really well. I should also mention here that as part of that, these restrooms will also be enlarged. So right now they only go back to about here. So with all the additional dining space in here, we need additional restrooms. So this is one area that we're doing that. You'll see another spot where we're adding restrooms as well.